What is happening, Budget Builders, and welcome back to the channel. We're back here with the 1953 Pontiac Chieftain that we rescued in our last video. This thing had been sitting since 1971. We were able to get that old straight 8 to fire back to life. You'll notice we're in the shop here. We've got it up on jack stands with the wheels off of it, and that's because in today's video, we're gonna get this thing back on the road. Definitely a perfect rainy day kind of thing to do. Now let's go ahead and dig into these brakes and see if we can't get them built. Hey baby. You want to help me build these brakes?
Yeah, I like building.
First thing, come here. We need to do is take this cover off. Alright, grab this. And let's wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nope, okay, maybe not.
Smells kind of good in there.
Yeah, it smells like old WD-40 grease, doesn't it? I like the smell of old cars.
It smells like it smells like syrup.
Yeah, kind of like syrup, huh?
Yeah, it kind of smells like syrup.
You want to eat it?
It makes me want to eat the car.
All right, look how good that looks in there. So we take that off. Okay, now, Amelia, take this, and you're gonna grab this, come here, and twist it down. Twist it. See how that twists? All right, now Belle, you're gonna take this, come here, and pull that out.
Okay, that's easy for me. Can cut it off?
There you go. Put it over there with that, please.
So now, we're almost there. I'm ready. Put that where it needs to go. Almost.
There you go.
You can twist it too, so it'll pop right at this edge. It'll pop open. It'll pop at mine. We want to keep it like this so it can stay clean. So it doesn't get even dirtier, right, Daddy?
Yep. Oh. There it is. It actually doesn't look all too bad. It's been sealed up really good. What's nice is the actual brake kit itself is in excellent shape. Even the wheel cylinder's not terrible. This has a really nice tight fitment, and I think it really helped. And just by, I don't know, I can't say how nice this car is, but maybe this car spent some of its time in a barn, which it is all pretty crusty. I think a lot of the condition here is just because of how nice the fitment is and how much grease was packed in there. Now, one thing which is great is that these springs are in pretty good shape. I'd imagine a brake kit for this car would probably be a monster to get a hold of. Out it goes. Definitely crusty. We also want to come back in here and soak down where our line attaches and hope that comes off. One thing you want to verify works smoothly and easily is your adjuster here. I was going to say self-adjuster. This obviously does not have that. This end works. You can see the rust though. We're going to clean that up. We'll re-grease it. But, oh, there it goes. It's got some rust in there. I'm surprised it popped loose. Let's go ahead and wire brush that. I don't want to grease it because what grease will actually do is gum it up. So we'll just wire brush it, and then I'll soak it down with some penetrating oil, some WD-40 here. Make sure it goes back together nice and smoothly. I put it up there. I like to grease the ride points to keep the brakes from squeaking. So right here, there. You don't want to get a ton on there because you obviously don't want this Getting on the brakes, we ride right here, right here, right there, and right there. So to be honest, this drum cleaned up pretty good. It's got a little bit of pitting rust right here. I'm gonna let it work itself out. I don't think it's a huge deal. We may have to open it up later on and kind of clean up a little bit. These bearings are in awesome shape. So I'm just gonna pack some grease in here. Yep. I wanna back the adjuster out until we just barely slide on and it just barely scuffs. And then if we need to adjust it further, once it works down, you just get your little spoon and come in from the back side. Oh, there we go. Go ahead and move on and start addressing the rear. First thing you'll do is go ahead and there's 2 bolts that you take off here, and then your drum just slides right off. Well, I gave Dad the fun job of finishing up those rear brakes. I went ahead and knocked out the front here and got all new brake hoses on here. All the lines look pretty clear and everything. Now we're gonna try to bleed it. I did order a rebuild kit for the master cylinder, which is on its way. We were gonna attempt that first before going and replacing it because it's quite expensive on this car. And obviously, being on a budget, we wanna make sure we do things that way. But for the time being, it probably won't work. We're gonna try to fill it up and bleed it and see if it possibly pushes fluid and holds fluid. If it does, we'll get brakes on this thing. We can throw some wheels on it. It is off way down in here. What a monster and a half. It's just got a lot of rust. It's all good.
Hey, give me it back.
Take the brake back with you.
Is it hooked up?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh no. That means the piston is all the way in.
There's no resistance.
Sure enough, this is just a keeper and the piston is stuck. So let's see if we can get that freed up, and if it looks like the seals are okay, we might let it ride, but the kit does come with a new piston and everything, so. Huh. It worked. Whoa! Spring!
Probably just aluminum.
So the issue we're having here with the possibility of just honing it is because this was down and pushed in instead of back here, this whole end is really pitted. There's no way this is gonna seal. Well, we can order one. They're about $130, I think, maybe $125. I'm gonna order one and get it on the way. I should have done that in the first place, but sometimes you like to try. It's fun to save stuff like this. Now, you know a gal like this has to have some white walls. I guess these are technically blue walls, but they will be white walls with some water. Oh yeah. Nice pretty wheels. And you wonder why we left the wheels a little crusty, and that's because we've got some hubcaps. Now, these probably look maybe familiar. These are 54 Cadillac hubcaps, which I think are just gonna look sweet on there. this with your hands? Probably not. You hurt yourself. I guess we can see if there's anything we can do with this door. We definitely want to take care of that before we put paint on it. I did get another piece of trim to go here. We had one. It is the other side, but it's gonna be good enough for that. Let's see if we can get this door panel off. I'm hoping we can possibly save it a little bit, but probably not. It's out. Or are you just hanging? So you see how that clips in that specific spot and detaches or whatever.
Not good size again.
Boink! And there's the last one, clip right.
Fancy. Oh, it's good. Not much, is it?
Mm-mm.
You can get a foot in. There you go. Look at her. Like brand new.
Yeah!
It's a whole lot better.
Yeah, this thing was like a half an inch
Let me get a 2x4.
too long, and now the door is perfect width. It's weird, it's wider now. It will not be perfect. We just want to make sure we can try to get the creases out enough where it doesn't pop back in on us. It is far, far, far from perfect. I mean, it's got a few little ripples, but it's nice and strong. Now, I'm sure you noticed what we were doing was actually, we were getting it popped back out, and then Dad would take and pry it while I pinged around the hard creases to kind of get it to stretch the metal, kind of move it back around so it's nice and strong so it doesn't just pop back in. And that'll really do, wow. It's so much better. I mean, to see how crunched in this door was, that also kind of shows you how much of a big piece of tin this car is. These old cars are just pure tin. But wow, that makes a huge difference. We've got it cleaned up, and now it's time to attempt something. We've got some rags and Poppy's Patina Wipe-On Clear Coat. That's what we're gonna attempt on this car. I think it's a good one to try. If it works out well, we'll probably use it on some other ones. You can actually take and spray this. This is a big car, it'd be a little difficult to try to do it in the booth. So I think we're gonna try to just wipe it on and see how it comes out. We've got it all cleaned up really well. This is one of those, the amount of body work and rust cleanup, it's just mostly surface rust. There's not really bad rot in this car, but so much surface rust, so much work to actually paint the car would far outweigh the value of the car by thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands, to bring this car back. And the problem is, a nice version one of these is $6,000 or $7,000. So we'd be kind of pushing beyond that by quite a bit. And I personally really like the patina on this car. And so we're going to try to clear it, save it, and keep it looking this way for many years to come. So what you do, also came with this little spray detail kit thing that we'll be putting on there, or to keep up with it later on once it's done. This is your little applicator to apply it. It did come with this Scotch-Brite, which you've already seen. We Scotch-Brited it and everything and got it all cleaned up. One thing I am going to do, let's see, we've got, so you use this stuff. This is a wax and grease remover. I doubt there's much of anything on there, but we're going to do it anyways. What you do is you wet your towel, wipe it on. As I'm wiping it on, Dad will come behind me and wipe behind me. And then to finish, we will be putting on, and then right before we paint it, I am going to use a tack cloth to kind of get any little bit of extra trash out of there to make sure it's as nice of a finish as possibly can be. Now you're probably wondering why we're not pulling all the trim off. The clips are pretty rusty on a lot of it, and there's like 9,000 clips on this car. Plus, if you notice like the door jambs and everything, the car's pretty nice in the jambs underneath a lot of the trim. And so I don't think it's a huge deal to get all that trim pulled off. We'll just get right up to it. And later on, if we need to, we'll pull the trim, touch up underneath, and then put the trim back on top. But for the time being, I think we'll go ahead and get the whole car done. And then, like I said, we can pull the bumpers later on and do the rock chip guards and everything, and so on and so forth. But let's go ahead and start this process and see what we end up with. Okay.
Putting little fuzzies on it.
Yeah, that's what tack cloth, that's what that ride's for, I guess.
It's just turning them joints, dude.
8 to 1, but we don't have to necessarily be extremely specific. Probably should be, but I cannot find anything at the shop here. And so we're just gonna kind of wing it, because that's always fun. Looks like about 8, and then to 1 part catalyst here. Tiny little bit in here. That's about 1 part catalyst. Perfect. I don't know about this, but we're gonna try it. We might be spraying this car. Then even coats is what they say. Oh, look at all the fuzzies. Oh, yeah. Yep, it's good. Yes, it is.
Make sure you get all the way to the front before you go beyond, because you can't go over there. That's weird looking when it's actually on paint.
Oh, let me just put my hand right there. I'm trying. we're gonna go ahead and get our trim put back on now. And as far as these clips go, you can see you have your little bevels here. You slide them in, and then you take this little end, and it latches it into place. They should be bent up pretty good anyways. Now I've got to say, especially with how rusty this car was and everything, just how well that clear coat laid on and just how good it looks. It's pretty slick. This is cool. The paint was really dry in spots, the rust was really dry, and so I'm probably going to scuff it and do another couple coats just as time goes on in a few different spots. But for the most part, the car looks awesome. What a cool product to be able to just imagine having to pull everything apart. You know, if we weren't going to go the restoration process, just this process, but to be able to clear coat it. And then not only that, but even linseed oil or anything like that, this is a permanent solution until you were to knock the car down and restore it on down the road. But for the time being, to give it the patina look that it's still classy just the way it is, and I'm really digging it. It's a cool product, especially for the money. You know, it's a little expensive, but when you think about how much clear coat costs, those kind of products get quite expensive. To be able to preserve a car and make it look like this for $150 for the whole kit, I'm pretty excited about. Now that she's looking pretty sharp and she's all sealed up, one thing that I kind of wanted to do, if you remember the roof rack that we did on the Volvo, I want to put some sunglasses on, it's too bright, especially with all this stainless. If you remember the Volvo, we did those quick and easy little roof rack things, and we actually built our own roof rack. But I found something you don't come across often. It popped up on eBay pretty cheap actually, an entire kit of the original quick and easy, which is air correct. So let's get that thrown on the car, and then I have something else that I think is going to be really cool once we get it on there. This has been inside for about a day and a half, and then after that, it's been out here for about 2 days. I just wanted that paint to cure the best it possibly could, and that was dumb. It's on there. Some scratches in it now. Whoa, that's really hot. When I saw the rack and we were able to purchase it with the boat hangers, I knew exactly what was going to happen with it. This right here is my great-great-grandfather's aluminum 14-foot V-hull Sea King, and my grandfather gave it to me quite a few years ago. It's been tucked here and there, and I think we have a place for it now, and that's on top of the old Pontiac. This is a 1950s boat. We believe it's a 56. It may be earlier, but I think it'll go perfect on that car, and it'll be pretty neat. A quick Napa aluminum brightener wash, and Miss Joanne is looking like brand new. I think it's time to try to get it on the Pontiac. I should probably wait for somebody. Wind's blowing pretty good and there's a thunderstorm on the way, but you can get it on there. There's no way. And there it is, ready to go to the pond. I dig it. You may not, but I think it's pretty cool. Bunch of period correct stuff, and especially when this car's slammed to the ground. Wait, what? I think it'll be pretty slick on there. These little hangers are really cool how they bite down. They really hold this thing in here. And we have it in place here where the trunk can open up no problem. It's kind of dead in the middle here. I think it's really going to do well. We got that new Marine master cylinder put back up in there. We were able to bleed and get all the brakes working. And again, we did end up having a line pop. Nope, yep, okay. Yeah, that ain't gonna do. But we got a new one in there. Down the road, we may end up going through and putting all new ones, but for the time being, we have them all working. We have new tires. Let's fire this thing up and let's take it on its first real drive, just a cruise around here, up and down the street right here. Obviously, there's still a few more things that quite a few more things that we have to dial in. Let's take it for a quick spin. This thing sure does fire right up and sounds so good. That water pump is still squealing, but that is something in our next video. I have a new water pump and everything for this car that we had a special order, and we got it in, and so we can go ahead and get that put in our next video. Awesome car. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Driving Miss Daisy right here.
Okay, so this is kind of cool. Dad found this up under the seat. It's a sweet little note from 10/28/1970. We can only see some of it. We see howdy, and we miss you, and the puppy misses you. So sweet. What's kind of cool, now that we're back to the car, temperature looks good, oil pressure looks good, and we're actually charging. How awesome. Ooh. How bad is it? It hasn't, oh, it's smoking.
It don't smoke.
It needs to be run. It's getting better.
Yeah, it's running that oil.
This thing is awesome. What a boat. What a boat. It's so different. I mean, this is a big car. Oh my goodness. It's smooth. It is, I mean, just a quiet, smooth old, I could drive this thing every day. It has no brakes.
Huh?
We gotta work on cleaning those before. Or they're a little low.
Whiny
cruiser.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. This thing is awesome. So we're parked back here, and I did rev it up quite a few times, and it's not oil smoke. It doesn't smell like oil. What I think may be going on is maybe there's something in that muffler, it's blown apart. It just smells like burnt. I don't even know what it smells like, but it doesn't have any oil smell to it at all. So I think maybe we just have a muffler and exhaust issue. I do have a new muffler for the car that'll hopefully help us open that old straight 8 up just a little bit, because I do want to hear what that thing has. Well, there she is. The 53 is back on the road. There's a lot more that we want to kind of dial in with the car. I want to button a few things up brake-wise. I'm a little torn on the boat. I like it. I think it's really cool. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe we should put the rack in the boat on a station wagon of this era. But for now, I dig it up there. We may pull it up. And then another thing that I'm kind of considering is lowering the car. There's something that you can do with the lower control arms. You drop them 2.5 inches, and it actually corrects some of the front end geometry that these cars originally had issues with, they say. Makes it bump steer better, makes it handle a little bit nicer. And you lower about 2 to 2.5 inches, and then we put blocks in the rear to match that. We could also take a coil out or put lowering coils in it from that point and maybe get down to 4 inches lower, but I'm not sure. I really do like the car the way it is. I think if we stay at this height, we should put some fender skirts back on it, really give it that classy look. I think the Cadillac hubcaps look awesome on the car, and I do love the patina. I think it really suits the car well. That original black lacquer paint with the little bit of rust showing through, the lines of paint that are still here. It's just overall a really, really neat car, and it's been fun to be able to get this thing back on the road after being forgotten for so long. But that is going to wrap it up for this episode. If you are enjoying this rescue and some of the other rescues that we have, be sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell if you want to see more. And for those that have been with us, we really do appreciate all the incredible love and support that we have that we have had so far on this channel. We can't thank you enough. You are the reason that we're able to do stuff like this. But that's going to wrap it up. Peace out, and catch you all on the flip side.